Yeah, in terms of sparring, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson, Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick, shifty southpaws.
With Canelo Alvarez, Shakur Stevenson had no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Bruce is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout?
Like it's honest, but again, I want to see them fight. I want to see some aggression. Tank would have that if it was anyone he actually felt was worth it. I just don't know if he thinks Jake's worth it. And again, I get that feeling that he just is there.
Jake Paul's latest move has been to bring in Shakur Stevenson as a sparring partner ahead of his fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. According to Paul, Stevenson personally wanted to join the camp, adding credibility to his preparation. Paul explained that his team has assembled multiple skilled southpaws, fighters smaller than him but experienced enough to provide the right looks. What stood out most was Stevenson's inclusion, as he had no prior connection with Paul. Still, Paul believes working with Stevenson and other sparring partners will sharpen his game as he gears up to face Tank.
In terms of sparring, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson, Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick.
Some analysts have raised eyebrows over the sudden Paul-Stevenson link, calling it both suspicious and unusual. Critics argue Stevenson may have sold himself into sparring work, similar to when Jaron Boutsenis helped Canelo Alvarez prepare for Terence Crawford. The difference, however, is that Boots' family already had ties with Canelo, making that collaboration more understandable. In Stevenson's case, there's no prior relationship or shared background with Paul, leading some observers to suspect financial incentives were a major factor. This has fueled debate about whether Stevenson's decision is purely business-driven rather than boxing-inspired, marking an unusual partnership between two fighters with no history together.
Shakur Stevenson reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand, what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis? Tell me, what is the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson had no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Bruce is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. Nah, it's against a YouTube, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him directly to make it happen?
Shakur Stevenson himself has tried to clarify his stance when asked about the Paul vs. Davis matchup. He explained that if he were in Tank's position, he would see the fight from two angles. From the business perspective, it makes sense because of the money and attention it brings. But as a fighter, Stevenson admitted he personally wouldn't take the bout. His comments highlight the divide between treating boxing as a career move and as pure competition. While some critics find his role in Paul's camp questionable, Stevenson openly admits that financial considerations play a role. He points out how modern boxing often blurs the lines between sporting credibility and entertainment.
Can you blame a man for taking that opportunity? Because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault him for that?
It's two sides of that. Like,
okay.
It just depends. Like, as a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But in a business aspect, if you run it back and you lose to Lamont, and then the Jake Paul fight is presented, you may not make as much money, or the fight may not be as lucrative as it was before you lost. So as a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
Your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
fighter with my integrity.
Yeah, but isn't there a price for everything, Shakur? Like, even if you did had a draw with somebody and you were offered 10 times more than you ever, I don't know what the number is, but it's a lot more than he's ever made.
At the official press conference, tensions rose when Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis faced off. The two shoved each other, sparking immediate media and fan reactions. Yet, many analysts believe the scuffle was staged to fuel promotion rather than a genuine outburst. In today's boxing market, heated face-offs are often designed to go viral and boost pay-per-view sales. The Paul-Davis shove plays perfectly into the narrative, a spectacle where a bigger fighter looks to impose his size, while the smaller man relies on speed and technique. This drama ensures even casual fans will be curious to tune in on fight night.
Yeah. Southpaw orthodox matchup, left hand down the pipe. You can even see here, I'm not even trying to do the whole body language breakdown, but you can even see Tank could get under that left hand because he's 5-0. He could roll under that left hand, and here comes the brick hand over the top. And if he lands something like that in 10 ounces, I'm going to tell you this. Jake's 200 and something pounds. That's still going to hurt at the very least, and who knows what, because Tank's got ridiculous power. So Jake, a little sloppy on the push there. He got pushed. He wanted to get it back. There's something to be taken away from that, but lines up perfectly for a counter left hand. And you even see his promoter here is kind of grabbing his left hand because Tank wanted to let it fly. And Jake backed up a little bit. He said, oh, and Tank comes with that. Tank, man. Tank said, where I'm from, the bullies get bullied. All right, dude, there you go. Listen, takeaways from this thing, I don't know. Tank seemed to have a little bit more energy today. He seemed to be more lively. Him going back and forth with the media, with Jay Leon, with Jake, with Aiden Ross. There seemed to be a bit more energy today. That's all I really asked for. So in terms of, selling us on something, sure. Better job today from both guys. Jake, seemed a bit more locked in here with Tank as well. They had a little bit more fun. Tank going after Kisa was pretty funny. But listen, this doesn't change anything in my mind. The 10-ounce gloves doesn't really change anything to me. I mean, again, I think that's a bad idea for Tank, more so because even if Jake doesn't land clean, those are 10-ounce gloves. It's still going to hurt. Tank is still punching in gloves that are 2 ounces heavier than he normally uses, so I don't know how that's a win for him. The $2 million bet almost certainly won't happen, which I didn't think would in the first place, but Tank pretty much confirmed it. And we're all left with the same kind of idea that we thought about this to begin with. This is an entertainment exhibition that we know is going to draw a ton of eyeballs. I'm going to watch, and there's going to be great high-level competition boxing on the underneath card. And even in the main event, if something is to happen, if someone is to get knocked out, it will go mega viral, and both these guys are going to make a
Despite the theatrics, insiders insist Gervonta Davis isn't treating this as a joke. Analysts point to his body language and preparation, suggesting Tank is fully locked in. The stakes are high. Beating Jake Paul could bring not just a massive payday, but also greater mainstream recognition. Experts warn Paul not to underestimate Davis the way he might have underestimated older opponents like Mike Tyson in exhibition talks. Unlike exhibition fighters, Davis is in his prime and known for his ferocity. If Paul approaches casually, the results could be disastrous. Davis's focus shows he knows both the financial rewards and the risks of losing to a YouTuber turned boxer.
In this particular in the press conference, and you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games, don't hit him in the back of the head, don't rabbit punch him, don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson, first of all, Mike Tyson, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not going to have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, when you see a car crash. Like, you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. There's going to be a lot of people watching it, but I gotta say, man, you really can't blame the guy on what he's doing. And there's a lot of criticism flying on Gervonta Davis. It's not Gervonta Davis's fault that boxing took this turn.
Boxing commentator Showbiz the Adult has taken a strong stance on what a Tank Davis victory would mean. He believes Tank beating Jake Paul would make him a hero for both boxing purists and casual fans. Many have long wanted to see Paul humbled after his rise from social media to boxing stardom. From this view, Tank wouldn't just win, he'd deliver the moment fans have been waiting for. Paul's success has divided audiences, drawing in new fans while frustrating traditional ones. A knockout win by Davis would cement him as the man who humbled Paul, boosting his reputation inside and outside the ring.
Gervonta Tank Davis stops that. If he is the one who stops this whole train, knocking out Jake Paul, he will become a boxing hero. People will then say, now get the hell out the sport. And I'm talking about from a fighter's perspective. That's what they're going to say. Now, it's not going to go on either one of their official records because it's an exhibition. But it doesn't matter because optically, visually, seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
Help you up. We're going to help you up. We're going to see about it. Help you up. We're going to see.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5". He's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Two Sugars. That you guys don't want to admit it. Don't bull jive. Think about it. He will be a boxing hero. It will go viral over and over. It's the same thing. No, not even the same. It's not even close. But there was a viral reaction when AJ knocked out Francis Ngannou.
Anthony Joshua can destroy the MMA champion.
When AJ knocked out Francis Ngannou in the first round, it was like, now get out.
Former champion and analyst Timothy Bradley has been blunt, calling the matchup an easy money fight for Davis. Bradley argues that Tank's world-class experience makes Paul's challenge seem far less threatening. He sees no realistic path for Paul to win, framing the bout as low risk and high reward for Davis. To Bradley, the fight is less about testing Paul's skills and more about using his fame to elevate Tank's profile. His stance reflects a broader view in boxing circles that Davis will handle Paul with ease while cashing in big at the same time.
Your innocence and say that it ain't fixed. Because check this out. Tank ain't gonna lose this fight. Hell no. Hell no. Tank ain't losing this fight. Too many holes. Man, Jake don't have enough experience. Yeah, man, it's gonna be taking candy from a baby. You know, Jake is missing the rules. See, this is what happens when you don't grow up in the game. When you don't grow up in the game, man, at a young age, this is what happens. You know, you start reading your own press clippings. That's what Jake is doing. You know, fighting this lower level competition, and now he think he the ish. Now he think he the man. He ain't the man. You kidding me? He is not the man. Oh no, yeah, false sense of security. Now he trying to pick on small folks, right? You know, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, I'm just saying size-wise. Yeah, that's another thing, boxing one-on-one. You can't pay attention to size. Hell no, I told y'all it's the size of the heart, right? In that damn dog. It ain't the size of the damn dog, and I told y'all that, man. Yeah, it's the same thing here. And it's about the smartest dog. Tank too smart for him. Tank got too much boxing IQ for Jake, man. This gonna be easy. Easy. Like I said, man, Tank, please. Please, man. Don't do this to boxing, bro. If there's anything, man, shoot. Man, we can put together some kind of like account for you, a GoFundMe account or whatever, bro.
Analyst Paulie Malignaggi sees the fight's location in Florida as part of a bigger plan to make Davis a mainstream superstar. A win over Paul in a major U.S. venue would expose Tank to a wider audience beyond hardcore boxing fans. Malignaggi noted that while no one fully knows the motives behind the fight, the business side is obvious. Paul brings attention, Tank brings credibility. Together, they create a crossover spectacle. Florida provides easy access for fans, media, and celebrities, maximizing visibility and impact.
There's obviously a reason why the networks wanted to make Gervonta Davis a star.
But let's look at it, and Robert, I want to ask you this. When you looked at the numbers for Canelo, his fight against Crawford, 41 million viewers. That's what they got. It was the most viewed championship fight of this century. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson got 108 million. It got more than double, significantly more than double. Is it the idea of the streaming services, Netflix, where they're following the numbers, Robert, and that's where the numbers are?
It's the real fights where they deserve to be seen throughout the world. It's great. They have good numbers, but when you see guys, that are YouTubers, guys that are 60-year-old retired and coming back, and getting 2 times more than what a real fight, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of embarrassing, kind of sad that we're getting there, that we're in that situation. But I also can't blame them. They're all making a lot of money. That's why Tank is doing it. I think it's ridiculous. It's a joke. But I can't go against that either. He's making a lot of money. Jake Paul is doing his thing. Jake Paul is he makes these fights happen and gets the views. So people are tuning in. That's the problem, that people are.
Promoter Nakisa Bidarian added intrigue when asked about the fight rules. He confirmed 10-ounce gloves would be used, a standard for lighter weight classes, but notable given the size gap between Paul and Davis. Asked about a possible rehydration clause, Bidarian declined to answer, leaving speculation alive. Such clauses can restrict how much weight a fighter regains after weigh-in, which could significantly impact Davis. The lack of clarity has fans and analysts wondering if Paul's team negotiated terms to tilt the balance. By keeping details vague, promoters maintain suspense while ensuring close scrutiny as fight night approaches.
At 195 max weight,
okay,
10 3-minute rounds,
okay,
and 12-ounce gloves. And most of you guys know boxing, right? Most of the fights are with 10-ounce gloves. Fighters spar in 16-ounce gloves. 12-ounce and 10-ounce gives you a little bit more safety, which is the key here, given the size difference, but there's a massive experience difference. We will have 3 world-class judges ringside that the commission has approved to ensure there's a rendered decision for the fans. It will not go on their record, but there will be 3 experienced judges, some of the best in the business, giving their view of who won the fight.
So let me just follow up with this then. The Florida statute says that it means an exhibition means a boxing, kickboxing, or mixed martial arts.
You saw the exhibition of Floyd and Logan.
Okay.
So just go with that, and if they weren't trying to hit each other, then
enough.
tell me they weren't trying to hit each other. That's up to Tank. What I can tell you is, Tank is focused on coming in the best shape of his life. It's not about gaining weight. It's about having the speed advantage.
What can we expect on the undercard? Championship fights?
Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern, we'll announce 5 fights, 4 of which are title fights. So yes, you can expect to see another MVP fully stacked card. No prospects on a big show like this. Yes, go ahead. As in, how do the fighters prepare?
You and the
I mean, look, we started MVP 4 years ago with the mission to be fighter first, right? And I think like this event is exactly that. We're giving Tank a massive platform and opportunity for the world to see who that young man is. He's misunderstood in many ways, but at heart, he is a great human being who has a family and wants to do big things to make an impact on the sport and take care of his family. So we're excited about that. In terms of preparing for this, it's no different than Mike Tyson and Taylor Serrano. It's just another big event that's on a global scale.
Is there a rehydration clause involved?
No comment.
That wraps up today's coverage. Stay tuned for more updates.